Hello and welcome to John and James Live. My name is John Hastings and I am with the main man, Mr. James CeeLo. How are you today, James?
I'm very good, mate. How are you, more importantly?
Not bad, not bad. Always introduced like we're on a game show. Come on down. Mr. James, it's not really as relaxed as a Joe Rogan, is it? Joe Rogan just goes straight into
big gestures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I grew up with Wheel of Fortune. Remember that? I don't know if that's still on, but that was classic.
Oh, mate, you're dating yourself now.
Michael Barrymore, you see those clips, don't you? What an entertainer that guy was. Anyway,
yeah,
James, we said we'll keep it light
don't
today.
Don't make him like that anymore. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
We're going to keep it light and airy.
We're going to keep it light.
Too serious. So a little bit kind of.
I don't know how light losing your job is. Is that light, James? Losing your job, getting fired? So
not overly. No. We're not going to be flippant about that. That's for sure.
Are we at that stage, Joe? Remember, well, I don't really remember too much. You might remember more than me, but sort of the mid-90s where people were starting to talk about this internet thing. Like the Amazon, Jeff Bezos said he was going around telling people that I'm going to sell books online. I'm going to do this. And people are like, why would you sell books online? You could just go to the shop and buy them. I'm never going to put my credit card details online on a computer. How am I going to trust that? Well, 25 years later, it seems like we could never live without it, could we? Everything is online.
25 years later, we double click on our phones or even use a smartwatch and you can pay like that without even entering any details, no signature required, nothing. I mean, I remember I used to be a bartender at TGI Fridays and we had these card swipe Amex machines that you had to put the card in there, then the sort of the paper over the top, and it was like 3 ply that you then had to swipe the card. You then gave back part of the sort of foil to the customer. You kept one behind the bar, and that was your tab. And the amount of times we got to the end of the night and still had the card there behind the bar.
Oh, really?
It was like, oh dear. Or people hadn't given the right slip back and all that sort of thing. So from going from that, and that was mid 90s to where we are now, in a very, very short space of time, has been incredible, really.
That's the days when people used to go out, James. I've heard like the nightclubs, they're shutting. What are they, 2, 4, 5 a week or something like that? Apparently, thousands are disappearing. Pubs, nightlife.
Pubs have been shutting for the last 10, 15 years, I think, wholesale, haven't they?
Yeah. So I just wonder if we're at that very early stage now. A few people are saying, look, this is like the early internet stage, sort of 2022 to 2027. And people are just trying to figure out what this tech is. You know, is it a big thing? You know, what we're going to do with it. But if it's anything like what the experts are saying, it's going to be bigger than the internet and mobile phones. So what the hell does that mean for our careers? And you know, how many jobs have just gone? I think it was Amazon that just released tons of jobs. I knew there was another company over his Facebook got rid of loads of jobs. I know that billionaire Benioff, I can't remember what his company is, but he said it was already up to 40% of the workload was being done by AI. And you're not replacing like junior people, you're replacing like coders and stuff like that. Ones that you thought was going to be safe. So let's see.
I mean, just to your point, you were talking about the internet. I was reading a bit up on Tim Berners-Lee this morning and his perception of where the internet and AI has gone. You know, apparently it was never his intention for it to be used in the way that it's being used. You know, it was just that sharing of information. You know, whereas now it's become so integrated and triggering for a lot of people, you know, when you're talking about mental health issues and it's shaped a complete generation now, hasn't it, in terms of its impact. But it's the same with any of these things. I think, the intention and the imagination, it's of science fiction, isn't it? You think, well, it's going to do one thing and how it's going to benefit humanity. There's always a downside. There's always massive benefits, but there's always going to be something that counters it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that it'll ever be,
isn't it? It's like the mobile phone,
Yeah.
isn't it? You think it's gonna, it's gonna connect you. You can speak to people all the time. Well, the opposite happened, didn't it? You don't really speak to anyone anymore. You just sort of text.
just text, and then
Or-
WhatsApp comes along, and you're all in WhatsApp groups and
FaceTime
It's
is
that,
brilliant. Yeah. FaceTime has been useful for me, definitely, over the years. It's been a game changer.
totally.
I get it. The disconnection. I was talking with my friend yesterday about his 8-year-old son, and just comparing his life as an 8-year-old back in the early 90s to his son's life, and just it's a stark contrast. Kids.
Yeah.
He's not really playing outside that much. I said, has he got local friends? Yeah, but you don't really want to let them out by themselves. He's very much into YouTube. You're trying to work your own job, trying to survive, trying to make money, so you sort of can pacify kids with these phones and toys and things, can't you? Computers.
It's fascinating. I mean, I just thinking actually, as you were talking about not having seen like groups of kids playing together for a while. I mean, I where I live, I mean, again, it's down to kind of the geography. But where I live, actually, I went out on a walk the other day, and there were a load of kids out in someone's front garden playing football. They had a football net up. And they were actually playing and running around. It was great. It was great to see. But you don't tend to see lots of kind of kids just out together anymore. And maybe it's been a gradual sort of thing that's sort of disappeared or disappearing.
Yeah.
Which is really sad.
I think he said something like, my friend said, like, he tells his kids now, if you're naughty or something, you're not going to be allowed out. And he said he can't use, that's what his mum or dad used to say to him, because everyone was dying to get outside.
Yeah.
And now
you can use like reverse psychology now. It's like,
and now if you're bad, you're going to have to go out.
Yeah. And they'd be like, I didn't want to go out anyway.
Yeah. It's like,
I was quite happy inside.
So, but I remember that as a kid. It's like, oh, you won't be able to play out. You won't be able to. That would be like the worst thing ever, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Someone's knocking at the door and you said, "Oh, are you allowed out?" Like, no, he's not. It's been bad.
Yeah.
But now,
I'm gonna go call for somebody. That was always the thing.
Yeah, knock on a door, see if they can play out. But
it's gone.
I don't know if it's because they've ever got younger children anymore, but friends have got younger children, and they said it has drastically changed. But anyway, let's move on to the jobs. So I've got a list of jobs here, James, that potentially I've got 10 jobs that
I got a list, so let's compare.
So first of all, on the top 10 jobs that will be majorly disrupted by AI, we've got admin, assistants, and secretaries. Anything to do with scheduling, email, documentation, that type of stuff can be, I think, automated out. What do you think about that one, James?
Yeah, I mean, would you include personal assistants in that list? Because again,
I just don't think like top tier.
Secretaries.
If you're like a CEO secretary or you're a high level secretary, maybe more lower level scheduling will be done by some type of software. But I think CEOs and stuff need to trust. They don't want to rely on the software. They would rather have a person sort of using the software and just overseeing it, managing it.
Yeah.
Unless it becomes ridiculously good.
The personal touch. Yeah.
But who knows? I know there's things coming out with email. It could all be synced up, and potentially that one could go.
Yeah, but I guess again, it sort of frees up that individual to do, more personal touch type sort of work, as opposed to the kind of the boring, generic sort of scheduling sort of side, if that can be automated, and that's cool. But that kind of human element then should come to the fore, shouldn't it?
Yeah, any repetitive work, any scheduling, if it could easily be done by an AI system, it would be good to get it out of the way, wouldn't it? It's not my forte.
Definitely.
What have you got on your list, James? Number one?
Well, the likes of, you've got supermarkets with cashiers and, people on the tills and stuff like that. There's going to be a faction of people that like that don't want to go and scan everything or walk into a shop with no shop assistance whatsoever. We were talking about that maybe last week. I think it was just a Tervis, that there are stores now, certainly in London and elsewhere in the world, where you can go in there and there's no shop assistant. Everything's automated.
Yeah.
So it's those sort of jobs, and again, depending on the particular retail outlet as to whether you actually need people in there, but always good for advice. But then maybe if you had a terminal that you could go up to and very quickly find out what you need, interesting to see if
I think that side, I used to be the guy who I just couldn't be bothered with the faff of doing it myself, so I'd always go to a cashier and do it that way, and that was years and years ago when it first started. But now I haven't been to a cashier in a long time. I will just scan it, go,
put it in the bag, go to the terminal, scan it, boom, done. So simple.
Yeah, it's so simple, isn't it?
It's that fear of not wanting to look stupid when you get there. It's like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, and some people just don't like change. And they actually, they can genuinely enjoy that interaction with a person. And maybe that's the only time they're getting to speak to somebody, is when they're cashing out or checking out at the supermarket. So I understand that's why they've kept a sort of hybrid thing where you can go do self-scans. But they've got 3 ways now, haven't they, that you can do these, again, the sort of scan, or you get the ones where you've only got a few bits of shopping and you just scan it through there at the till, the quick checkout. Or you have, putting everything through the checkout people. So it's something for everybody.
Yeah, it's more and more of it's going to disappear, though, isn't it? I reckon I'll just make it easier and easier for you to just check out the food yourself. That will definitely be automated out. I think we can say that will go. Customer support agents. So customer support, it still is at the moment. As soon as they say you're going to be putting through an automated system, I haven't come across one that's better than a human. Have you? Yeah. It's annoying when you just have, can you repeat this? Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, just put me through to a human. It's annoying.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, I think, going on to kind of chatbots and things like that, potentially, and again, why they do it as a filter to free up, the staff. But it's like, there are certainly benefits to that if you want to know something, that it can be quite good in directing you. But sometimes you do go around still, it's not perfect. You go around in circles and come back to the same thing. And it's interesting of thinking that you're actually just talking to an AI-generated chatbot as opposed to a human being. So the way in which you interact with it, I think still we're being quite polite and saying please and thank you and, appreciate your assistance and all that. You're just literally talking to a bunch of zeros and ones.
And I'm being harsh. We're early days with this. This is only going to get better. I've been using the ChatGPT voice function, and it's improving considerably month on month, and I'm shocked at how good it is.
How good
really.
it is.
So
and it learns you and what you like and what you respond to.
Yeah, just very quick, very fast. You can talk about all different things, and it will be able to respond pretty well. So it's not just waiting for you to say a certain keywords. It's actually, multifaceted. So I'll be amazed if that that doesn't really take off. Next one on my list, James, I've got accountants and bookkeepers. Automated reconciliation, tax prep reporting. This is one of those ones where I think, why haven't, I know with the online banking, if it's just not attached to some type of intermediary AI that automatically in real time tells you what your tax is and what you've spent it on, that type of stuff. I'm sure the idea of an accountant will disappear.
Yeah. And the advice, sort of the job of a good accountant is to save you money through their knowledge. And
shouldn't be though, should it, James? It should be pretty black and white with accounts. If you're doing accounts and it's grey and you're going to an accountant to save you money, then that means there's something wrong in the information.
But it's the knowledge of what you can claim and what you can't claim, and those kind of details that actually what is permissible. Obviously you don't want to be breaking the law by any means, but that's always kind of the way in which it's put across, is that a decent accountant will save you money in the long term. You're not paying the tax that you don't need to pay, and that's their knowledge of accountancy and the systems that are there and the processes. So if you've got like a system, as you said, that's linked to something like Xero that you can then go into and interrogate and say, well, look, this is what I'm looking to do. Give me your best advice. And it will do that for you. It's fairly simple. And that then is linked to your accounts and everything is then sort of processed. So, but like Xero and QuickBooks are there now to make things more easy than ever. You don't have to then present a bag of receipts like you used to your accountant, who then spend hours having to, sift through all these till receipts. So all of that's now been very much automated. So yeah, definitely I can see that going.
I've always used an accountant. Lawyers. I don't know if I've always used an accountant, but I'm definitely
always use an accountant. Yeah.
I think I should. It's just laziness. I think I should just use a QuickBooks or something simple. It's not complicated. And then store it all. It would be better for me business-wise.
If I can use it, you can use it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it would just be better to know everything in real time.
Yeah.
Instead of just waiting to the end of the year and then doing stuff that way. I think that
reports. It will tell you your P&L, everything.
It's more of a confidence thing, isn't it? That one. I think that's because when anything to do with money and businesses, people are gonna be very hesitant to mess around with it. They don't trust.
But if it's
going to have to be easy,
But that's the nature of any good app, is if it makes you feel intelligent. If at any point it makes you feel stupid, you'll disengage with it. So it has to be intuitive. It has to be really easy to use. Set up. Link your accounts to all that sort of thing. As soon as it becomes tricky, or you end up pulling I won't be pulling my hair out, but like as soon as you start doing that, then it's you've lost it. You've lost it. So it has to be really intuitive for sure.
But I think.
So what else do we think?
It's going to go. I think we'll put that one as short term. I think they're going to be all right for the next.
Yeah, I think that's more years. To sort of mid-term. I reckon mid to longer term. I think
so. It's a bloody good business model, accountants, though, isn't it? It's a great business model.
And I don't know.
Build up your clients.
Yeah, I don't know. There'll be a wholesale sweeping sort of change immediately, but like I think you said, like data entry clerks, people just inputting data. I think they're going to be very much in the short term becoming obsolete.
I would definitely just
travel
have my
agents. What do you think? Someone like a travel agent?
Travel agent.
So then, because you can kind of go into ChatGPT now and curate your own trip, put in all the
I haven't seen
parameters, the places you want to go
seen
see.
travel agents around for a long time, but they must be around, aren't they? They are around.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you got shops, and you still go in, get the brochures, and book your holidays through a travel agent.
Book your trips. What was the big ones? Was it Lund Poly or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's Hayes, all sorts of.
There's some big travel agents. TUI. Yeah, you're right. I guess there is. I don't. Will that go? I think it would just become more automated inside. I reckon they'll be able to just tune up their internal systems, probably release staff, and then just become more lean.
I think it's a generational thing. I think, certainly as the kind of millennials and, Gen X's, Gen Z's are kind of moving through, we're going into sort of Gen A, back to sort of A again, that they're going to go, well, why would I not just do this online? Why would I not ask ChatGPT? And ChatGPT now, very much like, Google, you'll get a much more detailed, probably faster response from ChatGPT, and not have to go around the houses and then go onto a website and then try and find the contact details and then not know who it is that you need to be contacting. That a very quick search in ChatGPT will tell you the email address, the name of the contact that is probably scraped it from LinkedIn, who that relevant person is. It's the speed of it is astonishing. So why would you go and do the old school unless you are a person that only trusts dealing with another person and will not change? And I think that's a generational thing. I think the
GPT agents will probably be sort of doing that all for you, won't they? They'll just run off onto the web and then book everything for you, sort out the scheduling,
contact the hotels, get the best deal, advise you the time of year to be traveling, the seasons to avoid, like hurricane season. And
although there are high level, what's not the word connoisseur? It's not connoisseur. What's the other word, James?
Yes, I know what you mean.
The services for high net worth individuals.
Yeah. I will think of it.
It's not
like connoisseur, but it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's like that. But they are popular because they can only get you. They make phone calls to the
like a concierge.
Concierge, that's the one. Yeah. So they will call high profile restaurants, make sure that you get a table.
Yeah.
But again,
that's down to relationships. That's down to people with dealing with people and enabling you. So, an AI isn't necessarily going to be able to do that because they're having to deal with everybody, in a situation where you could make a phone call and say, look, I've got a very important client. They want a table. Can you do something? And they'd say, yeah, no problem. We can shift about. We can phone up these people and ask them if they would be okay to move table, whatever. And that's human to human contact. And that's the nature of the relationship that you would be able to do that. So I can't see that being replaced anytime soon in that respect, for sure.
I think so. You think that could be bypassed if you just paid, say you paid 10, 20 grand a month for some high-end access agent, and you when you do your bookings and your search, because you're part of this high-end option, that one comes up for you and you get preferential treatment. So you probably can get access, can't you, through agents, higher level access. So the AI agents are still doing it, but you've just paid for.
But then everybody's in the mix together. So, you've got to, obviously you'll have a tier and maybe you'll have a base of doing it. Well, we can get you a table, but it's going to be near the toilets, for example. Get you on the chef's table if you pay the premium, and we'll guarantee that, you pay that amount. I mean, it's very much like the sort of debenture system for sport, is that you pay 25 grand a year, for example, and you get your seats, but you still have to pay for the ticket price, for example. But, that already exists. But I just think, there's still that thing where if everybody's at the same level, but you just know the proprietor that little bit better, or you've given them more business, or something along those kind of lines. You've done them a favor, and it's that transactional element, I think, is going to be difficult to replicate.
I think you could be right on that one. I did see a gym yesterday. I was sent $10,000 a month gym. I think New York, only 250 members. Interesting model, but it had all of the gizmos in the gym, ice baths and all that type of stuff. So so you're going to have these high level products still, aren't you?
You pay for that.
Yeah,
I think that's exclusivity for sure.
It says here, James, on jobs that are going to go: graphic designers, logos, banners, posters, thumbnails. That's my job.
That's your bag.
That's my job. So what do you think, James? Will this go? Because I think with the graphic design at the moment, it's a little bit like saying personal stylists are out. People have been selling clothes in the shops for ages. They are, you can go and see catalogs, you can go on the internet, you can see what people are wearing, you can still see this type of stuff. Yet all the big people are going to have personal stylists, aren't they? Everybody, you've still, because you still got to choose something, which is the hardest thing. So GPT could give you 10 logos and you've still got to pick, and you don't really know what's good. So I think with graphic design, you're paying for taste in a way.
And I think,
can't really replicate it.
It's certainly not there yet. It's still fairly frustrating to get exactly what you want. You'll get a pretty bloody good representation of what you're after. And for somebody who's on a budget, doesn't want to spend a lot of time, just wants something that looks presentable. It's bloody good. But I think if you're getting something that's a little bit more complicated, detailed, needs that human element, possibly somebody coming into it with the emotion and the subtle nuances, that certainly not there yet. That's not to say that it won't be very quickly, that you'll have at your fingertips, whether that will be behind a paid wall or something that's, sort of higher end, but for sure it's going to come. But I think, again,
I'm not trying to be biased. I don't want to be biased because it's my thing. But you do see people, even the way people dress, and they go to weddings and they think they look good, and you look at them and think, oh man. So some people just, some people have got an eye for that type of stuff, whether it's interior design, whether it's wearing clothes, it's just the fit of something, the color against your skin. It's all different things that can contribute to how something looks, and you can get it very wrong, can't you?
Style guru that you are.
I'm just saying, and as somebody who's a designer, it can be painstakingly frustration. People don't realize, but maybe behind the scenes, how many iterations of a style you might go through. They might think, oh, that was done quickly, and they don't really know that you've gone through 50 different shades of blue.
And it's interesting actually on the sort of, when you look at the flip side, I mean, like, I wouldn't class myself as an artist, but I've painted and done bits and pieces when I was younger, and like, you can overwork a picture and ruin it because you're there. Easily, the perfectionism kicks in, and you just iterate and iterate and iterate, and then it just loses the essence. Whereas if you kind of take the emotion out of it, sometimes that can be beneficial. It's just there, it's done, bosh. And like, I think maybe we overemphasize how much people put stock in what something looks like, like a logo, or, it doesn't really kind of give the essence of whatever. It's like, majority of people don't really care that much. They want, what you're providing, the service and everything else. but we can agonize over the logo. We can agonize over the color of the website. And it's like sometimes you're not seeing the wood for the trees, that you're getting so bogged down in the detail. And, you know, AI won't necessarily do that. It'll say, look, you know, I've scoured the web. I've found out which colors, generally speaking, are associated with your particular product, what people emotionally respond to. Boom, there you go. And all of that can be helpful kind of foundational bits to then give to somebody, a creative, to say, look, you know, we've done all this work for you, so now you can just really focus on refining it. And it is that refinement, I think, which is the key. That's the human element thing, is to actually look at it and go, you know what, I just think a little tweak here, and then it's just, oh yeah, that really pops.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think that, you know, like you said, low end graphic designers, people will be looking to do it themselves, or they're trying to, you know, use Canva, or they're trying to use a ChatGPT to do something.
Yeah.
But I think for people who are really serious, they will
don't have the time or the inclination.
But they will know,
you know, they do have
what's
the resources
in their skill set, and they will basically bypass this. Because if you look at any of the big companies, you would be probably shocked how much they spend on getting these visuals right. What was it? The government paid, what was it, $500,000 to the design company, and it was literally just to change the color scheme and just added slightly something different to the logo, just a slight difference. People will say, oh my God, it's a waste of money, it's this, but I know from behind the scenes, the instinct is to say that, but sometimes you don't need to overcook it, like you said. Sometimes the skill is in able to pick something so simple in the change, but makes a huge difference.
Making difficult look easy. That's the key, I think. You know, all of that, those iterations and the consultations and bits and pieces and changes, etc. And then it sort of comes out and you go,
Yeah. Like less is more. Like Apple's a great example, isn't it? It's like the most minimalist design, but everything just looks great, doesn't it? So it's like fits together. It's futuristic. It looks
there's no
amazing.
jarring.
No, it's not.
It's seamless.
It looks simple. If you said, "Oh, I'm just going to create this thing," it's like an apple with a, you know, somebody's bit into it, and that's it. You would think, I could have done that myself, but you can't.
No, and you didn't.
And you didn't.
So shut up.
So I would say graphic designers, I'm not seeing it.
What about your postie? What about your local postie and the sorting office?
They call that the last mile, don't they, of jobs. So the last mile of deliveries, which caters for postmen, DHL, vans, those type of things. So that's always a bit of an issue for people. They can have these big distribution centers, but getting the last mile to people's houses, you know, what are the other options? You're going to take everything by drone? I can't see that. There would be each individual parcel by a drone. You're going to be looking at, I just can't see it. So I don't think that delivery drivers are going to go anywhere soon. Even if you had an automated car or van, how are they going to get the stuff out?
How's it going to get through your letterbox? That's quite sort of fine motor skills, isn't it?
Then you're not in. It will be hard, wouldn't it?
It's just this robot, this little sort of waste paper bin or something comes up and just sort of throws the parcel at you. Well, that can happen already. It just like throws it at your door.
Yeah. In an ideal futuristic world, you would build the city for distribution. So you would sort of first principles, build it out, design it from the idea that you would, or you have like 3D printing in a location that's close to you, and you never need to buy anything because you can just print it.
Yeah,
That's a possibility, but that still feels a little bit pie in the sky, doesn't it? I think delivery drivers is pretty safe. I can't see that moving. Maybe not for long haul drivers like these massive lorries that are going miles and miles up and down the country. I can see that being automated.
Yeah,
but last mile delivery, I'm not sure.
It's a logistical challenge. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's a logistical.
Copywriters for a job to go.
Yeah.
Blog posts, ads, emails. I'm not sure about this. I think I put this in the graphic design category, whereas I can see the logic of it, but because there's so much of it and there's so much options, I don't know, James. I don't know if it's going to be strong enough. Otherwise, everybody now would have viral post after viral post after, wouldn't they?
Well, unless there's this pushback against ChatGPT, that people, it would be really interesting to get a statistic of people that are for and against using ChatGPT for doing those kind of things. Is that they're still there thinking, it's got to be imperfect, the human element, which I agree with. If it's too perfect, then you can see through it. But there's going to be a tipping point, I think, when all emails, you just kind of expect them to have been written by ChatGPT. As personalized as you can get them. I mean, maybe even the algorithm would be there. It will throw in a sort of a grammatical error or a spelling mistake or something, just so it looks like it's been written by a human and not, this perfect rendering of the human language represented by, ChatGPT. That there's something that's going to be put in there that just sort of slightly kind of throw it and go, oh, okay, maybe that was human error. But I think there's going to be a point in which
it's always safe. It's not edgy. It's predictable.
You just know. Yeah, you just kind of know, because unless, again, you put the parameters in there and say, make it unpredictable and edgy. And then maybe, the algorithm can go, well, actually, I'm going to throw in something a bit left field here. But then there's safeguards there to make sure it's not too left field, or it's not too edgy, or it's not, incendiary or insulting or whatever. So all of these kind of parameters are there to sanitize it to an extent. So, whether it would truly allow something to be offensive, that there's this mechanism that's going in the background to make sure that actually it's not, inciting people to violence or hatred. And that everything will become very much kind of vanilla in that respect. I'm not obviously endorsing that people should, but, with things like humor, there's a fine line between, being insulting and being funny, but it's on the edge. So I think, well, let's talk about comedians then. So you're not going to get an AI comedian.
Joe Rogan reckons it's going to happen. He reckons they're not at the moment, not that funny, but it's just a matter of time until they have enough data to pick up the pauses. But
you know that it's.
I know.
Unless
I'm just
in
some
incredible humanoid robot that's there performing on stage. I don't know that it's going to have the same impact.
I can't see it anyway.
It's comic timing. It's responding to being heckled. It's anecdotal. It's, things that have happened in people's lives. It's a kind of, and that timeline, that sort of history, that line that runs through it, that they can then relate back to something that they said earlier. And okay, you can design all of that in there, but I think the delivery is something very different. The source material is one thing. Delivery is something very different.
And 99% of people haven't even got that skill anyway. Humans haven't even got that skill. So to think that we can replicate
being funny?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is most people, it's not in their wheelhouse, is it? Really? So
No,
I would say
it's a huge responsibility to be in that 1%, isn't
it
it?
is, James.
Don't you think?
We would know that.
You
But
and
I agree with you, James. I think copywriters, designers, comedians, I think it's, I don't know. It seems like superficially it can go, but I just don't know in the detail. It's all about the taste, the delivery, the timing, the angle of the copy, the perspective. I'm struggling to see how that's going to be replicated.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Interesting.
Middle managers and translators, those are the other ones. So translators,
Well,
I
mean, these are old now, but the new ones,
the new ones have got the thing. Yeah.
You've got translation built in. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I was using the translating earbuds when I went on holiday this year. They was the Amazon ones, but they were terrible, to be honest.
Well,
oh man, it's hard that you can't. That's the opposite of humor.
Did you get into trouble?
Yeah, there's no making a joke with those because the moment's gone.
Yeah,
you have to wait for it to decipher, get back to you, understand it.
Yeah,
then it's a different type of translation, and it's like, oh my god,
comic timing is not going to be there, is it?
Yeah, human translator was just much better, much quicker. To be honest, at the moment, but we're early days, aren't we? So let's
exactly. It'll be,
give it 10, 20 years. I'm sure
seamless.
100 years it'll be absolutely seamless. But
it'll have sort of some Mission Impossible thing that goes on your sort of throat here that then sort of gives you perfect pronunciation. And like you're speaking like a native, you'll have this tiny little micro dot that just goes on here, and then you'll talk like you were born there.
It's gonna happen.
You'll have a little earpiece, and then that'll come out your mouth.
In the next 10 years, no, I can't see it, James.
Mate, things are accelerating so fast. I don't know that we can actually say it's not going to happen because things are moving at such a pace.
I'm going to say no. Let's put a bet on that one.
Well, why do you say no?
It's not going to happen. But jobs are going to say yes. James. What should we be doing? We should be doing, it's got top 10 jobs here that are safe or strengthened by AI.
AI trainers.
Therapists, coaches, counselors.
See?
Human presence, emotional attunement, and trust.
I believe that if you have the resources and you can afford it, you would go to a human counselor and get the best counseling that you can afford. I think for people who can't but need it, to have that in your pocket, to have something that just pulls you back from the edge or reassures you and something. It's really interesting with ChatGPT now that it's built into it, little sort of little bits of compliments, and that's a great question. And although you know that this is being AI generated, there's not a human there that's fervently typing back to you when you put in your requests. It still gives you that little dopamine, the feedback thing to go, oh, that was quite an intelligent thing I just asked then.
Yeah. They toned down the sycophancy in the 5.1 version. I think people were pissed off because they really liked it. They really liked it.
But this is it.
They never felt heard like that. They was ChatGPT saying, "What a great question! You are. That's a very smart answer."
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh my god, no one's ever said that to me before. I feel heard, understood, valued." So I think they toned it down.
And is that right or is that wrong?
But I think you're right there, James. I think it's going to be a money thing. If you got the money and you can afford a human, then I guess you might delve into that. But humans have got biases, which is not great sometimes, is it, in terms of coaching and therapy? So they might be projecting their own opinions, pain, even
Yeah.
through questions. So yeah,
I mean,
I'm on the
you'd
fence.
have to put in there that it would have to be challenging. You know, you can't have something there that's just enabling
Yeah.
all the time, you know, and saying, oh, you want it to be empathetic and say, well, that's, you know, that must have been terrible for you. But just endorsing bad behavior or endorsing particular, you know, traits, that it could say, well, you'd have to put that into the programming. So there would still be that element of, because you could set one up just to say, well, just tell me I'm great all the time. Whatever I do, just tell me that's, you know, really sorry, you know, and that you're absolutely justified to do that. So
you'd want to train it though, James, wouldn't you? On like thousands and millions of hours of, you know, recorded therapy sessions,
psychotherapy,
all of the books, all of the learning, everything chucked into this GPT, and then probably it be in like robot form, so it looks like a humanoid, but with all of the knowledge that's ever been on.
It's kind of Black Mirror stuff, isn't it? Can you imagine that?
It would just be like the wisest thing you've ever met that knows everything about you and just has so much data points that it will be able to pretty much get you to behave in a certain way as best it possibly can, probably better than a human. So I reckon in the next, I reckon, like you said, it's going to open the doors for people who can't afford therapy, who haven't got access to it, which is going to be the majority of people, which is going to be great. And then it can enhance, obviously, people that are already therapists and working with people, because they can, not only do they get the hour with a therapist, they can go home and that therapist can use the AI with them to help them along the path. So I think it's going to be massively helpful. Tradespeople, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, James.
So for the time being, I'd say they're pretty safe. I'd say they were safe. You know,
I would say
it's
that Geoffrey Hinton guy, who's the founder of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, he said, like, plumbing, be a plumber. It's like a high
electrician,
plumbers,
chippy,
those type of things. So again, if you had like one of like self-build houses that are, you know, prefabbed housing, which is everything's built in with it, I guess you could build your own robot if there's something goes wrong in those houses, because it's cookie cutter, isn't it? But the rest of us are, you know, potentially living in all
until that then transitions, that all houses are built in that way. You know, and again, you're talking about cities of the future for sure.
But you still got tradespeople, aren't you, James? I can't see that one going anywhere soon. You need somewhere to live. Things always break down.
I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it, when you think about the creative process and artists, and you think of digital tokens like NFTs and the way that they're produced, and the fact they only exist virtually. You know, it's not a tangible thing that you can hold in your hand. It only exists in the digital world, the virtual world. It doesn't take away the fact that somebody's created it, but it's really fascinating, that store of value in respect of the rarity of it, that it can be duplicated, but it's not the original. So an NFT, it can, you know, you can have a digital reproduction of it, but it's not in its original form. You can have a print of a painting, you know, fine bit of art. So that's that. But it's the store of value in something which I find fascinating in respect of the human having made that mark on a piece of paper, or, you know, chiseled that, you know, that it hasn't just been 3D printed, for example, which is infinitely reproducible, identically. Yeah,
You're probably
I mean,
going to have that, aren't you? People who've got that type of wealth are going to play for rarity. I know. Did you see at Sotheby's the I think Gustav Klimt, is that his name?
Gustav Klimt, yeah.
Just went for 205 million. I can't remember what painting it was called, but that was the biggest modern art sale in history. Sotheby's there, so that was quite impressive. So somebody's out there was thinking that's
a like a bit of Klimt, I have to say.
That's a bargain. Imagine that, 205 million for a painting.
It's store of value, isn't it?
Yeah, people. I used to be on the side of thinking it's such a waste of money. Like, imagine what you could do. But then I think, man, if you got the money and you actually appreciate that, I guess it could be a spec. It's an investment as well, isn't it? It's not going to go down in
more than likely, mate. These things are investments. You know that it's going to appreciate, and very, very rarely is art bought for purely the enjoyment factor of owning it.
Yeah, because you could replicate anyone. We could replicate it easily these days, couldn't we? We could replicate it exactly.
You could, but it's not the original. And that's the key. That's what I'm saying is the store of value is that is not the original.
But maybe that's some primitive ego story thing, isn't it? It's about you feeling like you're connected to something in the past.
It's the human element. It's that, the fact that somebody physically, as I said, put that mark on the paper.
And there's a story behind it. I don't know what the story is. I'm going to check it out afterwards. But I think I think those things are I think they're a good bet. You know, I've got a friend, a DJ, was working in a school, lost his job, and he's retraining in his late 30s to be an electrician. So it's just brilliant to have anytime I see guys who are building stuff, who can do stuff with their hands. I'm always massively impressed. I like that. Healthcare workers, nurses, carers. So people are still going to want touch, empathy, bedside judgment.
Agreed.
That closeness.
Agreed.
Do you think? I do think though the robots will be a thing in that sense. Like old people will probably have like a friend robot. It could be like a robot dog or something that they will talk to and they will build a relationship with. There will be companionship with it. So, but I think very fine motor skills, changing somebody in hospital or talking to them or just sitting with them,
having dignity. But there's I think just very recently there's been a groundbreaking operation. I think it was a brain tumor or something along those lines that was performed purely by a robot surgeon. I think it was an aneurysm. I could be wrong, but that's already happening. So I think something along those lines. So surgeons, for example, I think before, like you said, nursing and that palliative remedial care will go beforehand. So, if surgeries can be performed in that way with zero risk and mistakes, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with a human being.
Yeah.
Both the surgeon, obviously, and the patient. But, if you can perform surgery that is within, fractions of a millimeter with accuracy,
then why not do it by robot?
Why not do it? I mean, you potentially still have to have the human there to decide on the course of action, whatever, but the physical act of the operation itself could be done by a robot for sure. Oh, my man Dan. Hello, Dan.
Dan. You want to read this one, James? I think this is about the painting.
Yeah. So it had a story too. It's a portrait of Elizabeth Lederer. This was the Klimt, which was looted by the Nazis and nearly destroyed by a fire during the Second World War. and sold at Sotheby's auction. So it's a backstory, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the lady in the picture. So I'm going to have to check her out.
Goes with it.
I don't know who Elizabeth Lederer is.
No, she must be thanks for that, Dan.
Yeah, 200. Did Dan buy it? Dan bought it, didn't he?
Yeah, Dan would have bought it, but he's probably got that in the junk drawer.
So moving on, James, we'll go through the rest of them super quick. So they reckon the jobs that are gonna be safe are entrepreneurs and just creative type people, problem solvers. So I reckon there's going to be a lot more consultants, a lot less maybe employees, people that come in with specific specialities using AI or using their specialized knowledge. I think consultancy will probably go up in the future. Social workers, community workers, I guess you're going to still that human contacts, creative directors and visionaries. That's probably what I was talking about in terms of the first one. So you're going to need somebody to give direction. You got a lot of options. You need somebody to say, right, we're going to go this way. Maybe the AI is not going to do that. High level consultants and strategists, sales, high ticket or relationship based work. So
again, relationships, isn't it? What we talked
relationships, because you can't. I'm watching a video before we came onto here, and it was just about, a guy I know, a friend used to play football with, and he was just talking about energy. Just said, it's not in the words. You might say it, and you might know the sort of leadership hype in terms of the textbook of what you do, but really it's about the energy that you bring to that moment, how you feel.
More energy, moment. More passion.
Do you believe in what you're saying? You could say the same thing, two different people. One person totally believes in what they're doing. The other person doesn't. So is robotic, it just got me thinking. I was just like, that's a very strong point there against the AI.
Leadership. Yeah, leadership. And again, it's that having somebody that you can relate to.
Can it bring energy? Can the AI bring the energy of let's say you have a coach, a personal business coach or a personal coach. You can have your AI version of the coach and they might know everything in the world, or you might have a personal coach who knows a quarter of what that AI knows, but they come round and they've got energy.
Yeah. Well, what it will do is it will scrape the web for all of the iconic motivational speeches from King to Gandhi to anybody who's made an impassioned speech that's rallied the troops, that's galvanized and mobilized a nation, and will analyze the emphasis, the timbre in the voice, everything else, and could replicate it, but fundamentally it's still not coming out of a human being.
No. And it is different, isn't it? If you've got a human being in front of you, there is like some type of energy aura around that. You're feeding off of each other. There's something in that atmosphere around you. You're not getting that through a screen. You're not going to get it through a screen. So I think I never really considered that much before, but now I'm thinking about it. Because the robot doesn't believe it. It makes all the difference.
Yeah.
It's just saying it.
It's just regurgitation, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's something there which is not quite the same as a human being. So,
and that it has an experience. So, when you're hearing a speech like that, or you're talking to somebody who has a similar experience to you, you have that commonality, that connection, and you just know that AI hasn't had that experience. not in the real tangible world.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to relate to. There's, you just go, well, it is just words. All you're doing is just saying words.
Just words. Might be great words, but again, there's no energy, there's no reality behind it. So yeah, that's where I think in leadership in business, leadership in therapy, relationships, health, I think the human element is still super powerful.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
Let's automate all the mundanity, and then we'll see what's left.
Yeah, I think another one to throw into the mix is like cybersecurity. Obviously, people who train in AI, and these mechanisms, that are there to update and to do the technical element.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to.
I think they're going to be huge, still. But they'll be using AI.
Probably data science.
It'll be AI fighting AI, probably, won't it? Like a battle off of.
Yeah, that'd be a weird
cybersecurity systems. I know with the quantum. Remember when the quantum computing thing is going to create all sorts of issues with security, because it can do trillion calculations in a split second, whereas a normal computer can't. So that's going to create all different types of issues. So I guess there's not going to be no human that's going to be better than an AI cybersecurity, is it? You're going to have to. I don't know, James. It could be like the coding. It might disappear, and it might be AI battles.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Interesting.
It's changing big. It's so big, isn't it? And it's knowing where we sit, and the boat's there, just side, like when the internet started, like when social media started. You can see it. It's there.
Yeah.
But do you get on the boat? What boat do you go on? Where are we going? You don't really quite know what to do about it at the moment.
Very true. Very true. Now, don't judge me for where my mind has gone, but like the sex industry, the sex workers we haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
It's, again, you've got tools and kind of humanoid representations, and where that's going in terms of relationships, where you can have something that's compliant, that will, fulfill whatever need, etc. Those relationships, and bearing in mind we are more disconnected than ever, you throw those into the mix, and where I'm guessing, sex workers are, whether they're more relevant today than they have been previously because of that disconnect with relationships. I don't know, but that will be an interesting one where the sex industry goes.
Yeah, well, the porn industry people that was involved in that sort of collapsed, didn't it, when the internet came out? Because then it was already, all of a sudden they was selling videos to then having online access. That sort of collapsed. And I guess they moved on to the OnlyFans type of work. But again, could you just recreate an online AI model who becomes like an OnlyFans thing, and people relate to this? Because it's all screen-based 99% of the time. Could that be replicated?
But again, it's that human connection, that element, isn't it? And how far it can go to, I suppose, lulling you into that sense that actually you are talking to a human being. If it can convince you, I mean, it's going to go some, isn't it, to convince you that you are interacting with a sentient being.
Yeah, that is a, man, that's a real melting pot.
Incredibly transactional industry. And even more disconnected as a result, because this is not.
That's going to get real complex, isn't it? That side of things. I don't know what's going to happen with relationships, people, how they're going to interact.
Yeah.
You're right. But again, I think maybe like when it gets extreme in one area, maybe you bounce back. Like maybe
Yeah.
we'll automate a lot of the things, and then everybody says, "Oh man, I can't take screens anymore. I do not want to be in a job looking at a screen all day." Then everyone starts opening up bars again, cafes. Everything's about live events. Everything's about real in-person stuff, and it bounces back the other way.
Yeah.
I guess maybe
Yeah.
I reckon that's a potential.
Well, I think the pandemic has given an indicator to that, hasn't it? That sort of, I don't know that we're still, and we're like we were saying that pubs and clubs have closed, and that's a big indicator, isn't it? And restaurants struggling, but I don't know that we are sort of necessarily back up to pre-pandemic
No.
figures
I don't think so,
in that respect. Gyms, pubs, clubs, restaurants. I think we saw the other side of the coin.
I don't think a lot of that is to do with people not wanting it or the need not being there. I think that's just like an under sort of a level of just can't afford it. It's not commercially viable. I just don't think some of these places are commercially viable. They can't compete with supermarkets for alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol prices are through
Cheap
the roof.
alcohol,
People can't
Yeah.
afford to get a train ticket, which is ridiculously high, and then pay for a cab to get home. And then you go on a normal night out, it's costing you a couple of £100, and people are just saying,
I can
so let's just stay in.
some cheap beers and a takeaway.
Yeah. Whereas before you could go out and it wouldn't be too expensive, would it? Maybe take 20 quid or something.
Yeah.
You could probably have a night out.
Those days, you come back with change.
Yeah, 20 quid and a night out. You probably get a takeaway on the way back. You'll have a few drinks.
Wake up with a kebab stuck to your face in the morning.
20 quid now? What's that? Getting your train ticket there and back. Not even that. So I think the need's there. I just don't know how that's going to work.
So by next Wednesday, I want you to come up with a solution, mate, and then present it.
We need solutions. We need solutions. So yeah, let us know in the comments, guys. What is your job? Do you think it's going to stay? Do you think it's going to go? Are you worried? What could you do in the meantime to sort of shore yourself up? Do you need to learn how to become an electrician? Do you need to be a consultant? Is your job safe? I would probably just keep an eye on it so things don't come out of the blue. And like you said, I just don't want to miss the boat, but I don't know what boat to get on, James. I can see them all lined up, but I don't know which one. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the fitness industry, we haven't really talked about at all, but in terms of personal training, certainly program writing, you do that on ChatGPT. You don't need a trainer to do that anymore. But I think, again, it's that accountability piece of having somebody with you. And it's the interaction and the conversation and the trust element and knowing that they're not going to injure you and that they are practicing what they preach, et cetera, and it's that then where you're wanting to follow in those footsteps, and the belief system is that they can get you to where you want to go. So, but a lot of that's being automated now. Entering a gym has been automated. You don't need staff necessarily anymore.
Yeah.
You need staff on the floor to show people what to do, but again, a lot of that can be automated, but certainly entry is not the, receptionist that they used to be, and that interaction, they've put the resources into, making it very low cost, certain gyms.
So we know as personal trainers, people were paying for the chat, weren't they? The interaction, the chat.
Yeah, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Yeah. After you get over the hurdle of them coming in wanting to lose weight, it ends up being.
But good personal trainers are one that turn up on time and are consistent on a regular basis, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's like, if you're going to be there and you are effective and you have that personal element and can talk to people, be empathetic and understand, those are the major qualities, I think.
Yeah, because it's an accountability thing, isn't it? You could fob a robot off and not worry about it too much. if you didn't turn up.
Yeah.
But if your trainer's there waiting for you outside your door,
You don't want to let them down.
You don't want to let them down. That's not gonna. It would be different if it was a robot. You'd just think, oh, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'll just pull the plug out.
Yeah, just pull the plug out. They'll scoot
find the
off
off switch.
somewhere. So you're right. I think for accountability stuff, coaching stuff, I think it will be AI enhanced, but
yeah,
let's not underestimate humans. I think we've still got for each other. We still got a major role to play.
I agree.
would say, James.
And we can only hope
James.
there will be a swing. Well, it's been a pleasure.
You take care, sir. Cheers, Daniel. I'm going to go and check out that painting, actually, see what the history is. Be quite interesting.
Thank you, Dan.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.